Paul was a talented mechanic who had spent most of his life surrounded by the sound of engines and the smell of motor oil. He worked at a large auto garage in Kigali known for fixing everything from broken-down taxis to high-end SUVs. Paul was humble, always focused and passionate about his work. His boss, Sandra, was a strong and intelligent woman who had taken over the family garage after her father retired. Sandra was respected for her leadership, knowledge, and the way she treated her employees, firm but fair. At first, their relationship was strictly professional. Sandra would inspect the cars, discuss the customer's needs, and Paul would get to work. But over time, Sandra started to notice something different about Paul, his dedication, his quiet confidence, and the way he smiled when he finished a complicated repair. Paul, too, found himself drawn to Sandra. It wasn't just her beauty, though she was beautiful, but her determination, her kindness, and how she wasn't afraid to get her hands dirty when the garage got busy. One rainy evening, after closing time, Paul stayed behind to finish fixing a customer's car. Sandra offered to help. As they worked side by side under the hood, laughter replaced the usual silence. Their hands brushed, a spark flew, and it wasn't from the battery. That night, under the flickering garage lights, Sandra looked at Paul and said softly, "You're more than just a great mechanic." Paul smiled, wiped his hands, and replied, "And you're more than just my boss." From that day forward, things changed, not in a dramatic way, but in quiet, meaningful moments. They were still professional at work, but outside the garage, they built something even stronger than engines: love. And in the heart of the city, among the tools and tires, bloomed an unexpected romance between a mechanic named Paul and the boss who saw more in him than anyone ever had. Their relationship quietly blossomed. Every Saturday evening after the garage closed, Paul and Sandra would sit on the rooftop above the office, sharing tea and stories about their lives. Paul told her about his childhood fixing bicycles in the village, how he had always dreamed of running his own auto shop. Sandra shared how hard it had been to earn respect in a male-dominated business, and how Paul's presence gave her strength she never expected. But not everyone was happy about their growing closeness. One of the senior mechanics, Bosco, had worked at the garage for years and believed he deserved to be promoted. When he saw Paul and Sandra laughing together, suspicion crept into his mind. One day, he cornered Paul in the break room. "You think because she likes you, you'll take over this garage?" he asked with a sneer. Paul stayed calm. "I just do my job, Bosco, nothing more." But rumors began to spread. Some workers whispered that Paul was only getting better shifts because of his relationship with Sandra. The atmosphere in the garage changed. It was colder, filled with side glances and silence. Sandra noticed it too. One evening, she sat down with Paul in the office. "This thing between us," she started. Paul looked into her eyes. "You want to end it?" "No," she said quickly, "but we need to be honest. If we're going to be together, we have to face what comes with it." So they made a plan. They would keep their personal life completely outside the workplace. No favoritism, no special treatment. Sandra even promoted a different mechanic, Jean, to lead technician, a move that silenced most of the doubters. Time passed, and slowly respect returned. Paul continued to shine, earning praise for his work, not his relationship. And Sandra proved that her leadership had nothing to do with romance, it was about results. Eventually, even Bosco came around. One afternoon, as Paul fixed a stubborn engine, Bosco walked over, handed him a wrench, and said with a nod, "You're all right, man." That night, Sandra and Paul walked home together, hand in hand, the scent of oil and roses following behind them. Months passed, and the garage grew more successful than ever. Word spread across Kigali about the shop with honest prices, quality repairs, and a strong team. Sandra and Paul kept their relationship strong but quiet, focused on the work that had brought them together. One day, something unexpected happened. A man in a sharp suit walked into the garage. His name was Mr. Karakezi, a wealthy businessman who owned a chain of auto repair shops across East Africa. He had heard about the garage's success and was looking to expand his empire. "I want to buy your garage," he told Sandra, laying a contract on her desk. "Name your price. I'll triple it." Sandra was stunned. The garage had been in her family for generations. Selling it felt like selling a part of herself. But the offer was tempting. She could retire, live comfortably, maybe even start a new life with Paul. She took the papers home and talked to Paul about it that evening. "What do you think?" she asked. Paul looked down for a long time, then said quietly, "This place, it made me who I am. I dreamed of having a garage like this one day, but it's your decision, Sandra. I'll support whatever you choose." Sandra nodded, but she could tell he was torn. So was she. The next day, Mr. Karakesi returned, expecting an answer, but Sandra stood firm. "This garage isn't for sale," she said. "It's more than just a business, it's a home." Karakesi smirked. "You'll regret that." A week later, one of Karakesi's shops opened just 3 blocks away. Newer, shinier, offering free repairs to lure in customers. Suddenly, their garage was empty. Weeks went by with fewer and fewer clients. The staff started worrying. The pressure was rising. One night, Paul stayed behind late thinking. Then he had an idea. The next morning, he brought in a team of neighborhood boys he taught basic mechanical skills to. He offered free car checkups to local taxi drivers. Sandra helped organize a free workshop for women drivers, teaching them basic car maintenance. Slowly, the community returned, not for the lowest prices, but for the honesty and heart the other garage couldn't copy. By the end of the month, their garage was full again. Sandra pulled Paul aside and said, "You didn't just save the business. You reminded me why I fell in love with you." Paul smiled. It was never just about cars. She kissed him right there in the middle of the garage, not caring who saw. And that evening, with grease on their hands and joy in their hearts, Paul whispered, "I think it's time I ask you something." Sandra looked up. He smiled. "Would you marry me?"